just talking to Garrett Riley, that just some of the younger guys and the buy-in with impacting the game without the football. Just how do you feel like you've improved in that area for Dan?
Yeah, I've definitely been working on my blocking really, and then being able to run guys off down the field more. That way they're not involved in the run game, and I feel like I've gotten better throughout the season, just from week 1 all the way to week 11, I guess we're on now, and so just being able to, impact the run game like TJ did on that last play to really, help the game without us actually having the ball. It's been really impactful.
How much do you think you've grown knowledge-wise since you got here in January? Can you look back and, man, I didn't know what I didn't know?
Yeah, of course. I mean, when I first got here, I barely even knew what defensive coverages were and barely even what defenses do. I thought it was just mainly, zone or man. But now I can, distinguish what coverages are and being able to read it on the field and in live time and being able to grow in that aspect of knowledge, and also being able, being savvy in my routes and making sure even after the ball snapped, just reading what the defense is doing, being more reactive whenever my routes, and just I say being here in January has grown my knowledge, especially being here early, more than just coming in the fall, and so that's helped me a lot in my knowledge.
Who's helped you out the most with that, learning how to study film and learn defenses? Who's sat with you the most to do that?
Pretty much Coach Grisham. He's been a great teacher and for receivers, especially this year, I feel like he's taking it real personal. Coming off the year they had last year, he's taking it real personal and helped us a lot this year, especially with going into this season. He really wanted us to focus on, being the guy, being the person for the team, and so he's sat with us a lot more than I would have initially thought. And so just being with him and being with the assistant coaches to him, they really taught us a lot.
When does that moment sort of click for you when you're on the field and you start to be able to identify certain looks? Is that just something that pops over time, or is that something that comes with that kind of study?
Yeah, it definitely comes from over time, but also, going into the season, you got to watch film more. So being able to watch film more, watching how the defensive will disguise their coverages, how they'll line up in coverages, and then I guess the more you watch film that week, you're more able to identify that coverage more during the game.
How does that change? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Then we talked to Sammy Brown last week, talking about just there's an art to studying film. Have you sort of seen that as you progressed here in your first year, just starting from January to now?
Yeah, for sure. You got to take in a lot of things. You got to take in the defense as an entirety, what their tendencies are, if they play the run fast or if they, drop back. And then also, your man-to-man study film, watching the coverages, watching the DBs, how they play, if they shoot with their inside hand. And then if they do, if you find a weak spot in their game, you can really take that to their advantage. And then just being able to, I guess kind of knowing how to play that DB and what can kill him and what can't.
Are you comfortable? I know sometimes in the air raid, the quarterback and wide receiver can read what the defender's doing, a safety or a corner. And maybe the play says you've got an option to go a 9, on a go, or a 7 to a corner.
Yeah.
Do you have that? Do you have that kind of confidence now?
Yeah. I feel like I've gotten pretty good confident in reading. They make it very simple. If DB's bailing or not. Just being able to know what to run and taking a lot of DBs are going to press you and then back up real fast, and so you got to be able to read that, just read what they're doing. So I feel like I've gotten a good reaction to knowing what to do whenever the DB shows after the snap.
John Wild post where Coach Riley was talking about how late in the season there can be mistakes made by younger players just because there's a lot of distractions. Obviously, your freshman might hit the freshman ball, quote unquote, and stuff like that. How more difficult is late in the season kind of maintaining your focus?
Yeah, I mean, going deep into the season, you start to get little nicks and knacks here and there, little injuries, coming off injuries, getting bruises, but I feel like it's more, just a mental thing, just focusing, whether if it's, hurting or not, you just got to focus in. And sometimes, especially with those close games, you got a lot of things to worry about, you got a lot more pressure on you. So just being able to handle with that pressure and stay focusing on what you'll be practicing on throughout the week to be able to carry into the game instead of just focusing on everything outside of you. You just got to be able to control what you can control.
How easy or difficult is it to kind of put aside like all of the consequences with the CFP and everything that's going on in the ACC? How can you kind of block all that out of your mind?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we just got to, instead of putting all the pressure on us, put pressure on everybody else, put pressure on those 2 other teams that are ahead of us at the moment, making sure that, we just got to play Clemson football, and then hopefully that, as the time goes on, a lot could happen, and then that'll end up getting us to where we want to go. But knowing that, because, that Louisville game, we can't really control what we got to control what we can control at the moment, so we just got to be able to finish how we play, and then not worry about all that outside stuff, what the committee's saying or what, everybody else is saying, who's going into the playoffs or not, because we know that if we finish how we want to finish and then stuff happens here and there, we could very well make it to that stage that we wanted to get to.
I hear you saying these things that we hear Dabo say, that we've heard Dabo say for years, and we hear, are you surprised at all, or what's it been like as a young guy in this program to experience how they address these sort of things and how they talk about not worrying about it and moving it past it, and equipped you with how to handle maybe those emotions or those distractions that would naturally come into your everyday life?
Yeah, so basically just being, I guess, you can't really worry about everything, so, he just tells us, we gotta just be able to, inside out, I guess. I'm just taking all his quotes at the moment, so just,
But are you surprised he teach you that, and the program teaches you how to handle that? Because I think it'd be really easy just to expect them to say, man, you can't worry about that,
Yeah.
and then just expect you to wash it. But
Yeah.
it sounds like they teach you how to wash it and
Yeah.
where to actually focus.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in this business for a long time, so I guess he knows it all. And so, he's seen it all, so he knows, I feel like all the things he say, it's not just some crap he's saying. He's actually been on both sides of it, worrying about it. I'm assuming it gets to him and then not worrying about it, and he's, it works for him. So, the stuff that he tells us, you just got to know how to apply it and then just trust him, and knowing that, he's a real God-faithful man, and knowing that the stuff that he says, it comes from the Bible, it's biblical. So I feel like, the stuff he says is trusting. And so whenever he equips us with the stuff, tells us, what to do, what not to do, what to look at, and then I know that it'll be best for the team.
Has it been helpful as you've navigated this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the stuff that he says in team meetings and whatnot, the way that he talks to his students, and not just students, but his athletes, it helps us, stay focused on what we want to do and the goals that we want to get to. Yes, ma'am.
You've been at it for a while now, but just to go from high school where kind of you are the guy that being in such a deep rotation here, how much of an adjustment is that? And you feel like you've kind of settled into knowing that, hey, I'm not going to maybe play 60 snaps every game. Maybe it's more like a 25 or 30 and kind of be impactful.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely going from high school, being in 100% of the time to going to college, they got guys that you could roll in, they got guys all around the depth chart. So, I mean, guys get tired, and so we need to be able to have that depth to roll in. And just, I mean, I know that we got all the guys on the depth chart have been making plays all year, so we just got to take the opportunities that we get and make sure that we make the most out of them, and just being able to know that we make coach play you and make coach not want to take you out the rotation, because that if he does, you're one of the best players, so you got to be able to step up in there. But yeah, I've just been trying to prove myself to be one of those guys that needs to be in that on the field most of the time, so I'm just going to keep on working on that.
Talked about mixing actions, the weight that you're really intentional about putting on before this year. Do you feel like that's kind of helped you throughout this season? The weight that you put on in the off season, that's kind of helped you just durability-wise this year, like a full college season? Yeah,
definitely. It's been real helpful to be able to, stay healthy. I haven't been healthy all season, but I feel like, some of the stuff can't control no matter how much weight you put on. But, it's definitely been able to, I feel more explosive than I would have. Felt more able to cleaner on my routes. Felt like I could block better since putting on this all weight. So, yes, I feel it helped me health-wise and physicality.
Anyone else for Bryant? All right. Thank you, Bryant.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.